Start off with quite easy questions. What brought you to the sport?
Well, I used to do a lot when I was younger. I actually started off actually being a cross-country runner. Yeah, it's not it's not ideal, I tell you.
Cross country.
Yeah,
You're a better man than me.
I know. It was
much better.
I used to bloody hate it at the time. You know, it used to be horrible. Well, I was always very small and skinny, and I always used to have just kept running and running. So I started off at a local club called East Cheshire Harriers. It was a typical thing. I used to jog the race and have a great sprint finish.
Yeah.
So when everyone thought, "Oh, your sprint finish is brilliant," I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I have to jog the rest of it just to make sure I finish." You know, stuff like that.
I'm doing it for, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally that. If I maintain pace to this point, then sprint, and it makes me look good. You know. But it just got to the point where, as usual, you only get to a certain level. So I moved to Sale Harriers then, and then that was a big step because there were some good middle distance runners there, and I was struggling to make teams for that event, especially for the 800 meters as well.
Okay.
That was big ask because there were some good youngsters at the time. But doing a while, as they're still going now, the Young Athletes Leagues, we was doing the race at Blackpool, and I was selected to do the 800 meters and the 200 meters for both the B string.
Such a big gap in
events,
it's the young
do it.
Yeah.
It's the Young Athletes League. Anything goes.
Yeah, it's all of it. You're just trying to fill spaces. You're just trying to get the full squad, aren't you, to get the points in for the team? Yeah, literally.
Come on, guys, just do it for the team. We need the points. Just do it for the team.
It literally was. So like, obviously, I'm getting myself prepared for the 800, and I got quite badly beaten by the lads, especially not even just from Sale, but from other clubs.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy doing this 200, and I absolutely whooped it, absolutely demolished it. And I was thinking, I'm actually all right at this. And then they needed me for the relay.
Yeah.
So I ran a really good last leg, and I just thought, I'm going to give sprints a try because I'm actually quite fast, and then obviously going better here than I was ever in the 800s. So
How old was that? Like, how young were you then?
I must have been about I think it was that first year when I was in secondary school, you know, when I probably swapped, because I was doing the sprints for the schools as well, even though I wasn't really training for it, and I was doing a bit of both, and I thought, you know what, I'm doing sprints for schools, and I'm filling in for the 800s here, and I'm not really going anywhere for the middle distance.
Yeah.
So once I started filling in the spots then for the youngsters for the sprints for both sides, like for the school and club, that's when I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this because I quite enjoy it. And I was actually quite a decent little 13-year-old at the time as well.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So obviously back then it wasn't Power of 10, it would have been something like athletics data or something. Were you one of the guys that used to compare himself on the rankings and see like what was going on in the rest of Britain?
Yeah, kind of. I remember there was a few names for a couple of years. There was some familiar names that were around. One of the athlete was from Liverpool, and obviously some from the London lot. Yeah. And we were all like 12-second runners at the time. And but because even though I was like 12, 13, we didn't qualify for the English schools by then because obviously we were a bit young. But I remember when I started going to the English schools a couple of years later, there was a real big jump. Of being good in your local area to stepping up to English schools level. So I remember in 2005, I winning everything as a Greater Manchester's, breaking records. And I remember seeing the rankings then of, I think I was running around like mid-11 seconds, which was okay for
under 15.
For under 15, which
that's
is
that's pretty good.
It's all right, you know. And then, and I remember checking the rankings then. It was actually a Power of 10 even then, or athletic data cylinder then, something like that. So I was ranked, obviously it was all hand timing then, so I was ranked about 4th or 5th, thinking, I'm in the mix here, going into English schools. Go to my first English schools in Birmingham, had one of the favourites in my heat, and he battered me by over half a second, and I went out first round. And I PB'd as well, official PB of like 11.7 as well.
How was that for your confidence? Like, how was that immediately you finished? Did you just think, well, that was a terrible run, or did you think, well, I had a PB, do you know what? Take it?
No, it was actually just shocked. Because I was so used to winning in my local area, and I was so confident, and I wouldn't say complacent, but I thought, this is it. I can do this, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make the semis. I got absolutely, and I checked the other heats, and I still wouldn't even have qualified. These English schools guys just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it comes to schools athletes that don't really represent the clubs, but go to English schools, they just come out of nowhere running these like low 11 seconds, and I'm just like, who are these guys?
When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of Zoom till I'm sentimental.